Not anxious, hopefully not. But everybody wants a little peace today, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right. We are in chapter 7, section 7, the totality of the kingdom. Whenever you deny a blessing to a brother, you will feel deprived because denial is as total as love. It is as impossible to deny part of the sonship as it is to love it in part. Nor is it possible to love it totally at times. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. Denial has no power in itself, but you can give it the power of your mind, whose power is without limit. If you use it to deny reality, reality is gone for you. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. That is why denying any part of it means you have lost the awareness of all of it. Yet denial is a defense, and so it is as capable of being used positively as well as negatively. Used negatively, it will be destructive because it will be used for attack. But in the service of the Holy Spirit, it can help you recognize part of reality and thus appreciate all of it. Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You will never be able to exclude yourself from your thoughts. When a brother acts insanely, he's offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours. You need the blessing you can offer him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. What you deny, you lack, not because it is lacking, but because you have denied it in another and are therefore not aware of it in yourself. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be is what you think you are. What you want to be then must determine every response you make. You do not need God's blessing because that you have forever, but you do need yours. The ego's picture of you is deprived, unloving, and vulnerable. You cannot love this, yet you can very easily escape from this image by leaving it behind. You are not there, and that is not you. Do not see this picture in anyone, or you have accepted it as you. All illusions about the sonship are dispelled together as they were made together. Teach no one that he is what you would not want to be. Your brother is the mirror in which you see the image of yourself, as long as perception lasts. And perception will last until the sonship knows itself as whole. You made perception, and it must last as long as you want it. Illusions are investments. They will last as long as you value them. Values are relative, but they are powerful because they are mental judgments. The only way to dispel illusions is to withdraw all investment from them, and they will have no life for you because you will have put them out of your mind. While you include them in it, you are giving life to them, except there is nothing there to receive your gift. The gift of life is yours to give because it was given you. You are unaware of your gift because you do not give it. You cannot make nothing live, since nothing cannot be enlivened. Therefore, you are not extending the gift you both have and are, and so you do not know your being. All confusion comes from not extending life, because that is not the will of your Creator. You can do nothing apart from Him, and you do nothing apart from Him. Keep His way to remember yourself, and teach His way, lest you forget yourself. Give only honor to the sons of the living God, and count yourself among them gladly. Only honor is a fitting gift for those whom God Himself created worthy of honor and whom He honors. Give them the appreciation God accords them always, because they are His beloved sons, in whom He is well pleased. You cannot be apart from them, because you are not apart from Him. Rest in His love and protect your rest by loving. But love everything He created, of which you are a part, or you cannot learn of His peace and accept His gift for yourself and as yourself. You cannot know your own perfection until you have honored all those who were created like you. One child of God is the only teacher sufficiently worthy to teach another. One teacher is in all minds, and he teaches the same lesson to all. He always teaches you the inestimable worth of every son of God, teaching it with infinite patience, born of infinite love, for which he speaks. Every attack is a call for his patience, since his patience can translate attack into blessing. Those who attack do not know they are blessed. They attack because they believe they are deprived. Give, therefore, of your abundance and teach your brothers theirs. Do not share their illusions of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. Attack could never promote attack unless you perceived it as a means of depriving you of something you want. Yet you cannot lose anything unless you do not value it, and therefore do not want it. This makes you feel deprived of it. And by projecting your own rejection, you then believe that others are taking it from you. You must be fearful if you believe that your brother is attacking you to tear the kingdom of heaven from you. This is the ultimate basis for all the ego's projections. Being the part of your mind that does not believe it is responsible for itself, and being without allegiance to God, the ego is incapable of trust, projecting its insane belief that you have been treacherous to your Creator. It believes that your brothers, who are as incapable of this as you are out to take God from you. Whenever a brother attacks another, that is what he believes. Projection will always seize your wishes in others. If you choose to separate yourself from God, that is what you will think others are doing to you. You are the will of God. Do not accept anything else as your will, or you are denying what you are. Deny this, and you will attack, believing you have been attacked. But see the love of God in you, and you will see it everywhere, because it is everywhere. See His abundance in every one, and you will know that you are in Him with them. They are part of you, as you are part of God. You are as lonely without understanding this as God Himself is lonely when His sons do not know Him. The peace of God is understanding this. There's only one way out of the world's thinking, just as there was only one way into it. Understand totally by understanding totality. Perceive any part of the ego's thought system as wholly insane, wholly delusional, and wholly undesirable, and you have correctly evaluated all of it. This correction enables you to perceive any part of creation as wholly real, wholly perfect, and wholly desirable. Wanting this only, you will have this only. And giving this only, you will be only this. The gifts you offer to the ego are always experienced as sacrifices, but the gifts you offer to the kingdom are gifts to you. They will always be treasured by God because they belong to his beloved sons, who belong to him. All power and glory are yours because the kingdom is his. Oh my gosh, I just love when we read something and it's exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Hi, Joe. Welcome. Great to have you here. You know, that just so reminded me of a situation that I was in when I used to manage the Court Jester Athletic Club. And I'll never forget talking about the YMCA because the Y was doing this big monthly membership promotion. And it looks like my internet is unstable. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Partly. Yes.
Okay. If it gets wonky, let me know. Anyway, so what he did is he said, this is not right. The Y is competing with us. It's taking our members away. And we need to make a stand because they're a nonprofit and they should not be doing this. Right. And he like got this bug, this little bee under our cap, right? Like, this isn't right. You're the manager. You should take a stand, blah, 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 blah. You should tell everyone that it's not fair, that we're a privately owned business and they're competing with us and they've got funding and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, here I was a young person, and that made perfect sense to me at the time, right? That's so unfair. It's so unfair that the YMCA is competing with this privately owned business, right? So what happens next? The press and some bulletin comes over, interviews me. I tell them how unfair it is, blah, blah, blah. I was never so embarrassed in my whole life when I realized what I had done, right? And in that moment, thinking back to that moment, I think now about all of the people who are fighting amongst each other for what they believe is right and fair, right? Because there's a bee in their bonnet that someone is taking something from them, right? It's unfair. Someone's taking from you. You should stand up for your rights. They're taking away from you. It's a whole scarcity principle, right? That we just read about. And that's what it's all about. It's just the ego believing in scarcity and making this stand about what's right and what's wrong. And in the process, people are getting hurt.
People's perception.
People's perception, right? I mean, people aren't technically really getting hurt in the real world, but yeah, within the illusion, right? It's all the ego. It's all buying into the ego. But if we could just bless our brothers who believe in scarcity, right? If I had the wherewithal then to look at my then boss and say, nothing's being taken away from you. There's plenty to go around for everyone, right? And just if I could have just seen that instead of the scarcity, instead of my ego being like talked into, you're right. There isn't enough. You're right. They're competing. It just makes me.
Well, that's even like what. Go ahead, Terry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, go ahead, Mary. I was just repeating.
It just even what Carl said just before we started the recording about trying to overcome fear, if you will. That you can't really do that by thinking about fear, because now you're focused on something, and what you're focused on is what is the dragon that you're feeding, so to speak. So rather than focus on denying, eliminating whatever fear is part of the whole picture of our experience in duality, of our experience of separation. But when we remember that we are not separate at all, that we are communed, that we are of God, if you will, and supported in that, the fear goes back to its natural positioning, if you will. It no longer controls us. We can use it as a tool. We can have it as an experience, because we're here to experience everything as the aspects of the whole, or at least to be recognized that there are all these things. Then we can choose what we prefer to experience. But they're all here, so we accept and allow them. When we relax into that, it no longer jumps up at us. So when we just put our focus, and a question was brought up before we again went to the recording about how you are an activist and sort of a pacifist at the same time. And that way is also the same. You focus on what you want to attract to you, and the rest just naturally is allowed to be in its space, but it's not in the forefront.
Well, I think it's the bottom dollar is money, and somebody's livelihood could be affected. But fast forward to the present, now you got a big ass gym right across the street, right? And to compete, let's say, with this other athletic club, and as far as I know, nobody's saying jack. So how ironic, or how, I don't even know what the word is now, it's so meaningless, because there's enough to go around for everybody, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, right? It's like the point now is mute. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's saying anything. Like okay,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Have another gym over there, and there's people teaching there that teach here and teach in the same place.
Hmm.
So
I guess in my mind, I was trying to empathize, so to speak, with people on opposite sides of what's happening in the world today that we see on social media every day, right? So you have these people who are all about like, well, get them out of our country because they're taking away from us, and the rest of the people who are going, what is wrong with you? Like, there's plenty to go around. Like, why are you doing this, right? So I think again, it's the fear on both sides where we just read like anytime you separate yourself from your brother, you're feeling deprived, right? Because the denial is as total as love. So how do you not separate yourself from your brother? How can you put your, how can you, how can you align with that part of your brother that is love, right? And I guess that's what I was getting to, my own personal experience of, okay, I remember when I was feeling separated and justified in my anger, but then, I turned around and I'm like, but the why does so many amazing, wonderful things for families and people and children. For me to have that mindset was so limited and narrow, but it was based on scarcity, right? It was based on scarcity, and it was something that was again provoked intentionally, put there intentionally by someone who had an agenda, in other words, right? Like I was being fired up on purpose because obviously he didn't want to go out and say it.
right,
He wanted to
right,
get me to go out. So that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. I can see how these people are getting fired up to do these things that we look at as heinous and horrific, right? But someone is getting them fired up. Someone is trying to get them to believe in this scarcity. So if we can do the opposite and just bless them and say, I see the fear in you and know that it's not true. I see the love in you, not the fear in you. I see the love in you. I see that we all just want love and peace and safety. So I guess
But
that's where I was going with it, was I was
how do
trying
you,
to wrap my mind around how do I empathize with someone who in my mind is doing this horrific thing.
right, exactly. So how do you see the love in these ICE agents?
because they're afraid. They're fear. I mean, they're not doing the right thing, but each individual is my brother. And literally, I have a brother that's that kind of a person, but loving them anyway is because deep down inside, they're us. You know, we are all one, period.
Right. It's just hard to see that when they're killing people and brutalizing them and taking away their freedom
Hmm.
for
Yep.
money. They're doing it for money.
And money is what's dividing us. It's because the people that are on the top that have the most are afraid that they don't have it all, so they're dividing everyone else, and they're making us fight among ourselves, and they walk away to the bank. But this is all an illusion. Everything we have enough to live. Everyone has enough to live. They're just making it seem like we don't, that we have to fight among one another. It's it's like the monks walking for peace, like we were talking about. We have to realize that we are all in this together, and the ice agents and us. We're all in it together they think they're doing the right thing. It's like Terry said earlier, every person has their own perspective. And the mega people and the snowflakes, which I count myself among them, and everybody else, we all have our own perceptions, but the perception that we really need to keep is that we're all the same people.
And that we all have the grandeur of God within us.
And we get caught up in the chaos when the chaos is created to precisely do this separation thing.
It,
Like, for example, the farmers all of a sudden now don't have no workers to pick their fruit. So money's given to them by the government to supplement it. In the meantime, there wasn't a problem there to begin with. So the chaos is used to separate us.
Right.
it generates fear, which is untrue. There's
And
not.
this brings us into a great segue to the next section, the unbelievable belief.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. But before I jump, does anybody have anything else they want to share? I don't want to not allow someone to share if they've been wanting to share.
I really didn't mean to demean or talk down about disliking what ICE agents do because I hate it. It really upsets me every day. But I have to realize that it's their misperceptions, and I don't want to blame the ICE agents. I want to blame the fear within the ICE agents.
And I, in my older age, I look back at the things I did when I was younger and my perceptions that were running these actions. And it wasn't like I was killing anybody but I was just so ridiculous and
Mhm.
probably and did do some things that hurt people, unintentionally. But I was just operating according to where I was at that time. And so I kind of see the ICE agents, they're just at this level of mentality and that's not real, it's not lasting, just like how I was and how I am now is not lasting, the personality thing. So yeah, I think they're just mistaken, and they're
I,
separated. They're feeling very separated and coming from a fearful
I
place.
feel sorry for them.
Hmm.
They're one of the first people on my prayer list. Are they?
Think how dark their perception of the world is.
Especially when you treat other people that way, you have to be treating yourself that way. You f-
Yeah.
don't you
Yeah.
don't feel you feel towards others the way you feel towards yourself.
Great share, Joe, and great conversation, Carl. And it says it right there in paragraph 7. They attack because they believe they are deprived. Give, therefore, of your abundance and teach your brothers theirs. Do not share their illusions of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. Every attack is a call for his patience.
Oh, true.
Many that's so the book does a lot of those phrases. That all attack is a call for love in many different phrases.
Mm-hmm.
It brings that up repeatedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Great conversation, guys. All right, let's keep going. See what we have to learn about the unbelievable belief. We have said that without projection, there can be no anger. But it is also true that without extension, there can be no love. These reflect a fundamental law of the mind and therefore one that always operates. It is the law by which you create and were created. It is the law that unifies the kingdom and keeps it in the mind of God. To the ego, the law is perceived as a means of getting rid of something it does not want. To the Holy Spirit, it is the fundamental law of sharing, by which you give what you value in order to keep it in your mind. To the Holy Spirit, it is the law of extension. To the ego, it is the law of deprivation. It therefore produces abundance or scarcity, depending on how you choose to apply it. This choice is up to you, but it is not up to you to decide whether or not you will utilize the law. Every mind must project or extend, because that is how it lives, and every mind is life. The ego's use of projection must be fully understood before the inevitable association between projection and anger can be finally undone. The ego always tries to preserve conflict. It's very ingenious in devising ways that seem to diminish conflict because it does not want you to find conflict so intolerable that you will insist on giving it up. The ego therefore tries to persuade you that it can free you of conflict, lest you give the ego up and free yourself. Using its own warped version of the laws of God, the ego utilizes the power of the mind only to defeat the mind's real purpose. It projects conflict from your mind to other minds in an attempt to persuade you that you have gotten rid of the problem. There are two major errors involved in this attempt. First, strictly speaking, conflict cannot be projected because it cannot be shared. Any attempt to keep part of it and get rid of another part does not really mean anything. Remember that a conflicted teacher is a poor teacher and a poor learner. His lessons are confused, and their transfer value is limited by his confusion. The second error is the idea that you can get rid of something you do not want by giving it away. Giving it is how you keep it. The belief that by seeing it outside you have excluded it from within is a complete distortion of the power of extension. That is why those who project are vigilant for their own safety. They're afraid that their projections will return and hurt them, believing they have blotted their projections from their own minds. They also believe their projections are trying to creep back in. Since the projections have not left their minds, they're forced to engage in constant activity in order not to recognize this. You cannot perpetuate an illusion about another without perpetuating it about yourself. There is no way out of this because it is impossible to fragment the mind. To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack or be attacked. The belief that it can, an error the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. It does not understand what mind is, and therefore does not understand what you are. Yet its existence is dependent on your mind, because the ego is your belief. The ego is a confusion and identification. Never having had a consistent model, it never developed consistently. It is the product of the misapplication of the laws of God by distorted minds that are misusing their power. Do not be afraid of the ego. It depends on your mind. And as you made it by believing in it, So you can dispel it by withdrawing belief from it. Do not project the responsibility for your belief in it onto anyone else, or you will preserve the belief. When you are willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack, because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. But having accepted the errors as yours, do not keep them. Give them over quickly to the Holy Spirit to be undone completely, so that all their effects will vanish from your mind and from the sonship as a whole. The Holy Spirit will teach you to perceive beyond your belief, because truth is beyond belief, and his perception is true. The ego can be completely forgotten at any time, because it is a totally incredible belief. And no one can keep a belief he has judged to be unbelievable. The more you learn about the ego, the more you realize that it cannot be believed. The incredible cannot be understood because it is unbelievable. The meaninglessness of perception based on the unbelievable is apparent, but it may not be recognized as being beyond belief because it is made by belief. The whole purpose of this course is to teach you that the ego is unbelievable and will forever be unbelievable. You who made the ego by believing the unbelievable cannot make this judgment alone. By accepting the at-one-ment for yourself, you are deciding against the belief that you can be alone, thus dispelling the idea of separation and affirming your true identification with the whole kingdom as literally part of you. This identification is as beyond doubt as it is beyond belief. Your wholeness has no limits because being is infinity.
And beyond.
Buzz Lightyear.
That's right.
I
There you
use that
go.
quote a lot.
Almost every time I
Used
hear
to,
infinity, I think of it.
every time I got my son to take off his shirt, I'd say, "Reach for the stars." And he'd go just like that.
Uh,
Oh. Anyhow, so there you go. We just have to give it to the Holy Spirit. It's like the permanent trash dump. You know, when you get rid of your emails, you put them in the trash, then you have to go again and empty the
and then
trash,
do the trash.
right? I think that's it. Like right when we want to get rid of the belief in the ego, we have to give it to the Holy Spirit. Not just not believe in it. We have to literally give it to the Holy Spirit so that the Holy Spirit can get rid of it.
That was very helpful.
Yeah.
Definitely address what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I read this course, I learn like just another little
Nugget.
something that I read over, right? Like sometimes we get reading this and our minds are other places, but other times you get so focused on, oh, I have to give it to the Holy Spirit. That's what I've not been doing, right?
And what is that really but recognizing who we truly are, or recognizing that wholeness of and the way that the cosmos really was designed to work. There's no persona, if you will, of the Holy Spirit. That's an image we can have to make it seem easier. Oh, I'm giving it to, another entity, if you will. But in truth, you're just relaxing and allowing it to be as part of the wholeness, but you're not controlling it. You're not taking it on. And it's not controlling you. You're just relaxing to it because, and it's just a difference. And again, are we seeing something outside of ourselves that we're interacting with, or are we just truly interacting with the oneness and being absorbed as a part of that oneness?
I think a lot of it has to do with alignment, right? Because when we're aligned with love, then we're in that place of oneness, right? Of at one. And whenever we're aligned with fear, that's when we're believing in the ego. Something has gone wrong. And I think in that case, when we have realized that we're in alignment with fear, that's when it might be helpful to think of the Holy Spirit as a separate entity because we were already thinking of ourselves as a separate entity because we've already aligned with fear. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the bridge. They talk about the bridge to the one mind of God. But when we're in that place of fear, we've already separated ourselves. We're already thinking that we're separate.
Absolutely, Terry.
Yeah, but I'm with you on the whole at one mint thing. I mean, everything is one, right? There's only one sun. Although I see, one, two, three, four, five, six other faces here. We're all just one. And Mary, I see a telephone where your face is normally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, the ultimate communication device. There's a
That's
phone.
right. That's right. Unembodied love. I love it. Okay. Shall we keep going or do you want to discuss more? Anybody have anything they want to bring up about what was just read? All righty then. Let's keep going. Into the extension of the kingdom. Only you can limit your creative power, but God wills to release it. He no more wills you to deprive yourself of your creations than he wills to deprive himself of his. Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, or you withhold yourself from God. Selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness is of spirit, because that is how God created it. The Holy Spirit is in the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, mediating between them, always in favor of the spirit. To the ego, this is partiality, and it responds as if it were being sided against. To spirit, this is truth, because it knows its fullness and cannot conceive of any part from which it is excluded. Spirit knows that the awareness of all its brothers is included in its own, as it is included in God. The power of the whole sonship and of its creator is therefore Spirit's own fullness, rendering its creations equally whole and equal in perfection. The ego cannot prevail against a totality that includes God, and any totality must include God. Everything he created is given all his power because it is part of him and shares his being with him. Creating is the opposite of loss, as blessing is the opposite of sacrifice. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. Spirit yearns to share its being as its creator did. Created by sharing, its will is to create. It does not wish to contain God, but wills to extend his being. The extension of God's being is spirit's only function. Its fullness cannot be contained any more than the fullness of its creator. Fullness is extension. The ego's whole thought system blocks extension and thus blocks your only function. It therefore blocks your joy so that you perceive yourself as unfulfilled. Unless you create, you are unfulfilled. But God does not know unfulfillment, and therefore you must create. You may not know your own creations, but this can no more interfere with their reality than your unawareness of your spirit can interfere with its being. The kingdom is forever extending because it is in the mind of God. You do not know your joy because you do not know your own self-fullness. Exclude any part of the kingdom from yourself, and you are not whole. A split mind cannot perceive its fullness and needs the miracle of its wholeness to dawn upon it and heal it. This reawakens the wholeness in it and restores it to the kingdom because of its acceptance of wholeness. The full appreciation of the mind's self-fullness makes selfishness impossible and extension inevitable. That is why there is perfect peace in the kingdom. Spirit is fulfilling its function, and only complete fulfillment is peace. Your creations are protected for you because the Holy Spirit, who is in your mind, knows of them and can bring them into your awareness whenever you will let him. They are there as part of your own being because your fulfillment includes them. The creations of every son of God are yours, since every creation belongs to everyone, being created for the sonship as a whole. You have not failed to increase the inheritance of the sons of God, and thus have not failed to secure it for yourself. Since it was the will of God to give it to you, he gave it forever. Since it was his will that you have it forever, he gave you the means for keeping it, and you have done so. Disobeying God's will is meaningful only to the insane. In truth, it is impossible. Your self-fullness is as boundless as God's. Like his, it extends forever and in perfect peace. Its radiance is so intense that it creates in perfect joy, and only the whole can be born of its wholeness. Be confident that you have never lost your identity and the extensions which maintain it in wholeness and peace. Miracles are an expression of this confidence. They are reflections of both your proper identification with your brothers and of your awareness that your identification is maintained by extension. The miracle is a lesson in total perception. By including any part of totality in the lesson, you have included the whole. And once again, answers another question right off the bat. The Holy Spirit is the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, mediating between them always in favor of the spirit. All right. Anybody have any thoughts, comments?
Terry, what paragraph did you just read that from?
Where did I read it? The extension of the kingdom, the very first paragraph.
Okay, that's what I wondered, which paragraph it was. Okay, thanks.
Kathleen, did you have a question too?
No, just a thought. that this brings to light how seeing our brothers as separate is selfishness rather than the perspective of selffulness, that we're a whole, that it's all a whole. So we're fragmenting ourselves and living in lack when
Yes,
we see anything other than part of the whole.
right. Whenever we're aligning with fear,
Right. And it is selfish
right, right,
and not self-full.
right. Because we're trying to take something we don't have because we believe in scarcity.
Right. In this case now, it's a little difficult still to see that, but I guess our scarcity would be in safety, ours
Right,
and others' safety and freedom,
right.
because we're seeing it being taken away.
And just like the people who are doing what they're doing also feel like their freedoms are being taken away and they're acting from that place of scarcity as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Right.
a no-win situation
Yeah.
unless you get to that place of fullness and see the Christ in your brother,
Right.
right? And I know we read about that. I can't remember if it was earlier this year or near the end of last year. And I remember the light bulb went off in my mind, like, oh my gosh, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, they're not talking about someone out there. They're talking about when you're ready, the teacher in you appears, right?
Right.
And that still gives me goosebumps when I think about it because I think, okay, so what would the teacher in me say at that moment? The teacher in me would say, be only love, for that is what you are. All attack is a cry for love, right? So in that moment, if you can give love and see that as a cry for love, now you have shown that light into the mind of the pupil who now has the ability to become the student so that their teacher will appear. And that's how it works, right? And that is why they always say, see the Christ in your brother, see the Christ in your brother, so that you can shine that light into the mind of of God, which is in them, right?
Right.
And in that moment, when they see that coming from you, it's that mirror where all of a sudden it awakens the student and teacher in them.
I wish they would have more videos on social media about that, enlightened people coming in contact with ice and sharing their love with them and seeing that result.
Well, there you go. Maybe
But
that's what we should be doing.
that would not foster the narrative that social media is trying to portray.
Right.
The algorithm would be going,
Well,
ah.
that's what the monks are portraying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're getting a lot. They are actually getting a lot of social media, which I think is
Yeah.
amazing within the
Right.
world of illusion, right?
But be the change you wish to see.
I,
Right.
I,
You
Because
have to,
everyone you see in all these videos, they're all reacting from fear and anger.
yes.
That
And
intensifies the fear and the anger from the aggressor.
and if you've ever done research about marketing, you will know that that is what raises the algorithm. So, for example, there have been so many studies done that if you want to get the word out about anything, just say something ridiculous.
God,
Say
that
something that ridiculous that would cause such a ridiculous answer. Have you ever seen some of those things that they put out there? Like you'll read these ridiculous posts, you're like, who would say that? And then there's 500 comments.
Yeah.
sounds like somebody that's leading our country. Or I
But
shouldn't say leading.
but that's the whole
Listening.
thing. Within this world of illusion and separation, that's what raises the algorithm, is the ridiculousness, the unbelievable, right? The unbelievable belief, which is
The
the ego.
lies.
It's the ego,
Mhm.
right? So you're right, Kathleen. And the only way to get that message out there is to be the change you wish to see, and to have peace, teach peace, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Over and over and over.
even in the words you used, even in the words you used, Kathleen, you said they react,
Right.
and then there's the anger and the whatever. When you are in communion, you interact.
Yeah.
You
Right.
are making space for the other. And in making space, the fear dissipates, at least somewhat, because you start feeling a little safe. You start feeling recognized and possibly heard. And so your defenses come down just little by little. And in that way, the love is then shared, and there can be compromises. There are no compromises when each side says, I'm right and you're chopped liver.
Right.
Then it's all about defense. It's all about the either or instead of both and. How do we get to both end?
Right.
Love.
Yeah.
Love. That's right.
I thought that at some point when this first ice thing started coming out, I thought that I saw a clip where somebody was handing out flowers to them. They were going around giving flower to them, and I don't know whatever happened to that. That
That's not,
somehow seemed to have stopped.
that
Maybe
doesn't
it just
portray
doesn't
the
get any more airplay.
No,
no.
right? Yeah.
Maybe just keep that intention out there, right? When you
Oh
see them
yes, have to,
and you
have
see
to,
these
have to.
things, send the
Yeah,
intention of love and peace and
yeah,
joy and
yes, yes,
safety.
yes. I had a text in my phone asking if I would be willing to uh, write on signs for the protesters. And the thought did occur to me, oh, well, this is a good idea. And then all in my same head, it was like, no, did you forget that you're not supposed to be protesting out there these days? Did you forget that? Don't bite into that. It's like, no, I cannot do this. I mean, and so immediately I said, you know what? This could be a hoax. This could be a lie. Who knows what this is? Don't bite into it, man. Just keep that fertile flowers in mind. And if anything, if you want to do something, then give somebody flowers to give to them, because I'm not putting my ass out there at all.
Don't.
Or maybe just say, I wish you peace. I wish you love,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Just send it. Right, right. Exactly. I do. When I'm meditating, this is what I'm working in my head. Exactly. Yes. And there is a group that I meet with every week for about an hour or more sometimes, and do this whatever you want to do. It's just a silent meditation.
I just had such a great thought, Kathleen, based on what you said. You know how everybody's into AI now? You could literally create an AI video of that exact thing, of an interaction of love with them being angry and then you going, I just wish you love. And then all of a sudden them all being loving and walking around holding hands with everyone and letting everybody out of the cars and everybody going back to their houses. What a great AI video that would be.
And singing
Yeah.
Kumbaya.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
Be a
mean, you could
great.
create it.
If well, I'm terrible at technology. I'd have to figure out.
Everybody is. I think it's just everybody has to learn it. I think because it's part of it. It's part of what's coming.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Right.
that would be a great challenge, right?
Yeah. That's brilliant. I love that.
Learn AI so you can create that video you want to see. So you can
With
create the love you want to see in the world.
Sure, like that old was it Coca-Cola commercial? You know, the hippies were all there was a song. What was the
I'd like
song?
the
I'd like to
world to
teach the world to
sing.
I like
sing.
to teach the
Yeah.
world to sing in
Yeah.
perfect harmony.
You could,
Grow
yep, or the
apple
road to
trees and
Shambhala,
honeybees.
right? We could
Became
have the road to Shambhala, perfect harmony.
yes. Ooh, I love that
All
song.
right, that's our
The
our mission if we
hippies.
want to get out there. Create AI videos.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I
That's what
love
I'm
it.
gonna do, right? I'm gonna do
Hey, you might as well.
right. Yeah. I'll have
Yeah,
to get some young kid to help me.
be the change. The
Yes.
new
Same
way of
with
protesting.
same with the political disparity. You know, you have two people with opposing, angry, opposing viewpoints, you know, angrily doing that, and then all of a sudden having that melt into an understanding that there's so much more common ground than either party is giving the other person, and then allowing that to morph into some understanding and then compassion for the other person and then the love that's
I
underneath
love it.
all of the nonsense.
I love that.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that's yeah. And just like that, we're almost at 1:30, guys.
Yeah.
We had some great
Time
conversations
flies.
today.
Time
Having fun.
flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it sure does. Well, have fun in Mexico, Carl.
Thank you.
Enjoy the sunshine.
I'll think of you.
Think of me.
Hello.
That's right.
Yeah, but if he goes, we all go, right?
We're all there with you. That's right. We're all
You'll
having
be,
fun in Mexico for the next
Woo,
couple
go
of
to
weeks.
Mexico.
you'll all be in my heart.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All
All
right,
right.
everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I will see you next week.
Bye.
All
Thank
right.
you, everyone.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.